Good morning. Welcome back to another video from beautiful sunny San Cristobal de las Casas, Chiapas. In today's video, we're going to go through each and every concern and reason that people have for not retiring here in San Cristobal, and we're going to see if they're real, actual, valid concerns or if we can debunk and demystify them. Let's dig in, guys. Vámonos. So top of mind is obviously healthcare, but we're going to save that theme for the end because there is a ton to dig into. Are there good hospitals here? Are there any hospitals here? Is there emergency care? And for those of you who stick around to the very end of the video, I'm going to show you the actual clinic where I went and what exactly I had done and how much it cost and whether or not they did a good job. So the one thing more vital to life than healthcare is water. And let's talk about water first. The problem is actually threefold. A certain bottling company, gracias Pedro, nos vemos. A certain bottling company, and I won't name names, has been given federal concession. A bottling plant has been given concession to take out 1.3 million liters of water from the aquifer per day. But that's not the whole truth. I just spoke with a local here, Pedro Fonseca, really nice guy, neighbor, and he's actually saying that it's not coming from the aquifer, it's coming from just right underground. There's a subterranean river that's basically just easy pickings for this bottling company, and the result of that is that it's leaving a lot of the outskirts parts of the town, including here actually, without water for sometimes days or even a month on end. No running water, imagine that. So that's one problem with the water. Well, what is the cause and then the effect? So the effect is that the city has to get water from a different level of the aquifer. And what's happening is the water that the townspeople here are left with a lot of times is actually severely contaminated with virus, with bacteria. And I was actually getting sick when I first got here, and I thought maybe it's the food, I'm eating something different that's not agreeing with me, but I was brushing my teeth with the tap water. And a couple people at my hostel and a couple friends said, hey, do not do that. Avoid that at all costs. So when I stopped brushing my teeth with the tap water, my stomach got better. I started feeling better. So the water is a huge issue. And then the third part of this water problem, it's threefold, and I only know this from talking to Pedro, one of the locals, is that the sumideros as well that come from the cerro. So when it rains, there should be all this rainwater flowing down the mountain through these sumideros. And it's actually not arriving because those sumideros are blocked with trash, debris, and earth, and the local government apparently is not putting forth the effort to keep those maintained and cleared out. So the water is the number one top of mind issue actually for me. I am also concerned about healthcare, and we're going to talk about that in detail.
Municipales de aquí de San Cristóbal no dicen nada porque no les conviene, porque ellos pagan el permiso para que exploten esa agua de la Coca-Cola.
O sea, es legal, pero
bueno,
no fue la decisión.
Ellos nunca les falla el agua. Todo el tiempo tienen suficiente agua.
Sí, y ustedes no.
En cambio,
so as you can hear me, I'm a little bit out of breath, huffing and puffing. And so another very valid concern and reason that people don't retire here is actually the elevation. And where I'm standing right here, we're at about 7,200 feet. And unfortunately for people with COPD or certain vascular problems or polycythemia, I'm not a doctor, but these are certain conditions that if you're up at this elevation can be exacerbated or made worse. And it begs the question, is there proper emergency care? If you're at this elevation and maybe you have a heart attack or a stroke or something, can you get the care you need on time? And that's where I'm going to focus most of the energy in this video. If you appreciate my investigative efforts, smash the like button for me, subscribe. So the elevation is definitely a substantial concern for a lot of people. Some people simply can't live at this altitude. And another one we have to get into is the weather, as we see some extreme weather rolling in. The climate For a lot of folks, when they think of retirement in Mexico, they think of their feet in the sand with an ice cold beer, the ocean in front of them. Here what we have is a very unpredictable climate where it can be sunny one moment and then it can be absolutely dumping rain. That's why I've got the dry bag with me right now. And so you can be hit with rainstorms and flooding, and I've seen that a little bit in my time here in San Cristobal. It's just intense rainstorms. And really, one of the Canadian gentlemen in my hostel said it well. When it dumps rain like that, there's really nothing to do. You're stuck indoors, you sit and watch Netflix. These aren't the kind of rainstorms where you can just pull out an umbrella and skip down the street. You know, like when it's dumping that hard, sometimes it turns from rain to hail very, very quickly. And these aren't just little dinky balls of hail. These are golf ball size hailstones. And so the weather can be fun for some of us who really enjoy a good storm, but for others who want perfect weather year round, there can be that situation where a storm all of a sudden rolls in out of nowhere and your plans change. So you think you're going to go to Lagos de Colon or you're going to go camping, and you just simply can't do it. Now, I do want to circle back to the water issue before we get to healthcare. One thing that I learned from Pedro, my neighbor there, among many things I learned from him, is that also the lagos are being contaminated with black water. So a lot of the fresh water that is still available to the people is actually being severely contaminated here. And guys, if you have more information on this theme and you're a local here, or you understand the situation better than I do, please enlighten us in the comments below. The point is to start a conversation. I certainly have just scratched the surface on this theme, and I am in no way an expert on anything San Cristobal, but I'm just doing my best to understand this situation. And I would say that's my personal number one concern, is the water situation. The altitude as well. Some people just don't adapt to it fully. People say, oh, give it 2 or 3 months and you'll adapt. But I have thicker blood as well. I don't have polycythemia, but I have, I'm right there at that level where I don't adapt that well to it. So that would be yet another concern for sure. I don't mind a good storm though. So now we're going to get right into the theme of healthcare and hospitals. A lot of folks are asking, are there even any emergency care facilities or hospitals here? I was interviewing an older couple who's been here for, I think, 13 years full-time, and they're an elderly couple, and they seem to not have had any problems. And so I didn't get to talk in great detail with them, and they didn't want to be on camera, but they did say that healthcare wasn't as big of an issue as people made it out to be. So I'm gonna go investigate. I'm gonna hit the 2 hospitals. From what I understand, there's a public hospital and a private hospital. And I wanna see just how good the care is. I wanna see if I can interview any of the doctors or the staff, get an idea for how clean these places are. One thing that is kind of a dark omen though, is that I believe the public hospital is right next to the cemetery. I never like to see that. I don't know why, but it's just a bad omen for me. But anyway, guys, let's head out. And then as promised, I'm gonna show you a clinic right in the center of town where I received some medical care, and I'll tell you exactly how much I spent for that and what they did and what the results were. So on our way over to the healthcare facilities, we have to talk about graffiti. That's another concern that a lot of people have expressed. Well, most of this stuff is related to serious things. Niños robados, stolen children. A lot of the graffiti around town is related to Israel, Palestine, conflict in the Middle East. It's political issues, it's wars. And a lot of this, according to the locals, started in 2020 during the global health crisis and when tensions and certain wars started. And it's just people's outrage basically being expressed, how the only way they feel like they could be heard is to, tag and do graffiti. The good news is that the local people have been cleaning it up. Some of the stuff I think has been left on purpose because some of these are very valid messages and people's voices deserve to be heard. But a lot of the historic buildings around us, as you can see, have been completely cleaned up. And so apparently the situation with the graffiti was quite a bit worse in the past years, and it's improving quite a bit. Like the main plaza where we're about to walk through, La Paz, Plaza La Paz, and this beautiful part of the center here is pretty much all free of graffiti. But I've had a couple of people express in my video about retiring here, hey, I wouldn't want to live in a place with all that graffiti. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel clean. Most of this, actually all of this graffiti is not gang related, guys. It's political messages, it's outrage, it's frustration is all it really is. So to me, it's nothing to be concerned about. It's something that's being cleaned up and addressed. But also I think a lot of the stuff is just valid frustration. So here we are walking through beautiful Plaza de La Paz, and you can see this is a very well maintained, beautiful place for families. No delinquency, nobody drinking alcohol, nobody getting out of hand. We have a public viewing party for the FIFA World Cup matches over here. Beautiful overall, just beautiful piece of history. And I just wanted to illustrate just how clean and safe San Cristobal de las Casas is. That's another thing we have to dig a little bit deeper into, is the safety, because it is a mixed bag, and I'm always going to be 100% honest with you and share with you exactly what I know and what I've heard. So the safety situation is this, from my experience here with boots on the ground, is that San Cristobal de las Casas no longer really has any unsafe neighborhoods. And this place has been incredibly safe since late 2024. There were some paramilitary forces and folks brought in to clean up the entire state of Chiapas. Evidently, they did a very good job. I've had a lot of messages saying, hey, Chiapas is not a safe place in which to travel. And that was certainly true from what I understand 2 years ago, but I'm here. I've been here for about a month, and I've been completely safe. We've traveled to the outskirts. We've gone to some villages in the middle of nowhere. We've gone and visited some waterfalls. And we have not really once felt unsafe, except a couple of my friends went to Chamula, and I think they were... Aquí tiene. Bendiciones. I think that they unfortunately didn't quite follow or didn't fully understand the whole no photos or no video thing. And in Chamula, in certain places, you have to respect to the maximum the local laws and customs. There are different laws. There are a completely different set of rules and laws when you go into a place like Chamula. And so that would be one caveat, is that they still practice, sacrifices. They sacrifice animals and put the blood on their faces, things like that. It's a different custom, a different people. So is it safe? Yes, for the most part. Just learn the customs and laws of where you're going to be before you go there and respect them fully. You'll notice that I have the camera pointed toward me a lot, because many of the people here are simply not okay with having their faces filmed. What we have here is groups of indigenous folks, Tzotzil, Tzeltal, and if you walk around shoving cameras in those people's faces, then it's not going to be safe for you. You're going to have a very bad time. One thing I want to point out too is older folks, retirement age, even myself, we've got sometimes knee and joint problems, ankle issues, and the walkability here is a mixed bag. Now, what I mean by that, look at these sidewalks. Some of these sidewalks are incredibly high. As you get to the outskirts of town, I'm over here near El Cerro, you can see the walkability becomes a lot more problematic than it is right in the heart of the center. So that's another thing. A lot of folks say, hey, I need a flat place, completely walkable everywhere. And my home base, Playa del Carmen, has that in spades, better than anywhere in the world. In my humble opinion, it's completely flat. We've got renovated, upgraded sidewalks on places like 10th Avenue. Here, a lot of the infrastructure and the sidewalks are very, very old. And also the sidewalks are high for a reason, because of what we talked about earlier with these big flash floods and storms that can wash in. The sidewalks have to be a certain height, or else there would be a lot more issues with flooding and walkability. But look at the beauty, guys. I mean, I'm highlighting a lot of the cons and the concerns, but this is a very beautiful place. The architecture, the cooler weather is a plus for a lot of folks. Now I'm almost to hospital number 1. There's actually more than 2 hospitals. There's quite a few clinics. I think I'm gonna go to a private hospital first, which is usually my preference. I like to pay out of pocket and I like to go to the private hospitals. A lot of times you end up getting better care there. And then we're gonna pay a visit to the public hospital right next to the cemetery and see how that is. Guys, this is a gorgeous neighborhood. I haven't been over here yet. It has kind of almost an alpine village feel to it. And I'm just on the other side of the cerro, the viewpoint, San Cristobalito. I will say my legs have gotten a lot stronger since being here. But I wanted to highlight this, guys. This is what I'm talking about with the graffiti. Sometimes there's a message behind it and people are just frustrated. But it is a concern. I mean, if you look at this, how beautiful that little section was there, and then you look at this just unnecessary defacing, and it just goes on and on and on. As you can see, it is very unsightly as we look up to Chamula, way up there in the mountains, which we talked about earlier in the video, the mystical mountain village of Chamula. And guys, don't expect to see any videos from up there for the reasons I mentioned. I have to be respectful of the locals, but I will be going up to Chamula probably tomorrow, actually. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of POV action on the way over there, you know, to show some of the graffiti issue and just what things really look like and sound like here. For the most part though, this place, the cleanliness has blown my mind. I've been all over Latin America, and as far as the safety and cleanliness, I have to give this at least a 9 out of 10. And not a 10 out of 10 just because of the graffiti. I had to do a little side stop here and look at this old classic Ford truck. What a beauty. Wow. Es hermoso el camión. Bien viejito. Sí. And before I forget, I wanted to mention this issue as well. There are burn piles and there are some big time burns. The corn burn, when the farmers burn all the old corn husks after harvest. And then also a lot of the vehicles here run very rich. So on top of the altitude, the issues with the altitude, you've got the smoke of all the cars and also the burning. So a lot of folks here actually have a lot of phlegm, a lot of breathing issues. And it's not just from the traffic, but also the burning, the post-harvest burns. So you have been warned. And that has actually been one of the bigger issues for me as well, is I'm just so used to breathing that fresh ocean air that breathing a lot of smoke and smog and exhaust has been a challenge for my sinuses and my lungs. And also you can see certain places that I'm passing by, there is a lot of graffiti, so I wanted to mention those things. Speaking of smoke though, hey look, I found a barbecue place. Nice, in the middle of nowhere, over here in kind of some rural parts. And I am doing all this on foot. Guys, if you appreciate my efforts, just smash the like button for me, subscribe if you haven't already. Putting in 20,000 steps for a video hits a lot different at 7,200 feet than it hits at sea level. Okay, so we have arrived. We've got Clínica San Agustín right here. And then apparently just beyond this, we've got a private hospital with folks coming and going right here next to the Chedraui. And let's see if this is a legitimate hospital. Biggest thing I want to check, do they handle emergencies? I know some folks have reported getting cosmetic surgeries here, and it does look like there's quite the mix of folks in the waiting room. Let's head inside and see if we can get some answers to these questions. Is this a place for emergency care? Heart attack, stroke? Let's find out. Hola, te hago una pregunta. Aquí pues hacen las urgencias como infartos, pueden llegar aquí por... So guys, so far very friendly staff here at Luxury Hospital, and I'm actually going upstairs to interview the doctora, the doctor, right now. But she says, yes, we handle emergencies, heart attacks, strokes all the time. And I'll put up on Google Maps where exactly this is to give you a little bit of peace of mind, those of you wondering about emergency care in San Cristobal, demystifying this little by little, this healthcare situation. So tons of information to share with you. The doctor was not authorized to do an interview and actually be on camera, but I was able to take some notes and answer all of the questions that we had. So this place is very well equipped. They have 15 different specialists here. They have gynecology, they've got ultrasound, pretty much everything you could need, urgent care, trauma care. So, gracias, que les vaya muy bien. And apart from all of that, the professionalism and the kindness was next level there. They were super attentive. They got me in to see the doctor within 2 minutes to do a quick little interview there. And they also have on-site laboratories. We've got the analysis clinic right here, laboratorio. And so I did ask the doctor, what's the biggest difference between the public hospital and this lovely private hospital? And she was just saying, well, the entire public has access to the public hospital, but with that comes a lot of delays and sometimes less quality. She didn't want to say less quality of care, but she just said less time with each patient, less attention for each patient. So I think for all of you watching this video, if you're considering a move or part-time retirement or snowbirding or something like that here in San Cristobal, this will be your best option right here. And once again, I'll put up on Google Maps right there where we are, but this is called Luxury Hospital, and it is quite the luxury hospital. She says also they rent out their operating rooms to other specialists. So a lot of times if you find a cosmetic surgeon, maybe you have a busted nose like I used to have, and you need something straightened out or fixed that's more cosmetic than it is medical, you can find a specialist and then they can do the surgery in these nice, sterile, clean, state-of-the-art operating rooms at Luxury Hospital. So that's about all the information I could get in that 2 or 3 minute interview. And you can hear I'm out of breath. I need to find some water. I've been putting in some steps. Stick around. We're going to go check out the public hospital. And I was joking with the doctor. It concerns me a little bit that the public hospital is right next door to the cemetery. Got a pretty good laugh out of her. Let's go check out the public hospital and see how things are really over there. Woo, gotta hydrate. Got that Topo Chico. Side note, all of your prescriptions, a lot of your needs for medications can be found right there at the Farmacia Guadalajara as well, just around the corner from Luxury Hospital. And yes, I better hurry up. It's looking like we're gonna get a storm. But I just wanted to mention that anything from blood pressure meds to Cialis or whatever else you may need, you can find it right there, typically at Farmacia Guadalajara. In case you were wondering about where to fill your prescriptions, a lot of times you actually don't need prescriptions here for those type of medications. All right, guys, I'm gonna make the trek over to the public hospital as promised, but hydration is key here, absolutely key. So let's recap why people don't retire here. The water situation, you can't really control that, but you can do your due diligence. Make sure you don't move into a neighborhood where that's a big issue. I have not had a single day where I've gone to turn the water on in my hostel and it hasn't worked. So that's number one. Now, the elevation, the altitude thing, there's no control over that. So you know whether or not that's right for you or going to work for you. The smoke, the exhaust, the traffic can be an issue for sure. the graffiti, but those are things you take the good with the bad. Now, I think what we've really had success demystifying today is the healthcare situation. The luxury hospital to me looks like a gem, 15 different specialists, affordable care from what I could see. But for the bonus material, guys, as it starts to rain here and I'm walking along the cemetery walls, bonus material, I'm going to show you the public hospital. And so we're going to determine if that's even an option, a viable option. One of the reasons I don't bother with the health insurance here in Mexico is I prefer to pay out of pocket, pick my own specialists, my own doctors and surgeons. But let's go get a look at this. Hospital de las Culturas, ominously located at the backside of the mountain, right next to the cemetery. So guys, tough situation there as the thunder hits. That line behind me is the line to get in the public hospital. So now you know that's really not an option. If you have the money to pay out of pocket, you absolutely always go to the private hospital. Very sad situation there for a lot of folks waiting to be seen who truly needed to be seen, but the wait is quite long. As you can see, the ambulance is pulling in there, and no shortage of people who need medical care here. Provecho. And guys, I think it's time for me to put the camera away and head back to the lodging, but you can see the level of need there is quite sad and quite shocking, really. So there we have it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you appreciate my efforts, all I really ask for in return is that you smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, leave in the feedback below. What did I leave out? What would you like to see next regarding life here in San Cristobal or elsewhere in Mexico, or perhaps in a different country? Thanks again for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next one. Rope Monster out. I know one reason a lot of folks don't retire here is also the lack of a strong international airport nearby. The closest airport is Tuxtla Gutierrez, way over that mountain, about 50 minutes away depending on traffic. And even when you get to that airport, you'll have to fly to Mexico City or somewhere else before you can really get very far. So if you're living in like Cancun or Playa del Carmen or Puerto Vallarta, you have some strong international airports, and it's just a breeze to pop on over to Spain or down to Buenos Aires or back to the US. From here, it's a little more complicated. So that is just one more reason. Let me know about the location, what you think about the geographic location here in San Cristobal. Good morning, bright and early. I almost forgot to bring you all this important bonus material that I promised you, because that rainstorm hit yesterday when I was over near the cemetery and the public hospital, and I had to hop in a cab and get home. But I did promise to mention which clinic I went to and which services they provided. And also there's another important piece of information. I woke up to the sound of multiple explosions, and of course those are fireworks, but I did want to mention that, especially for combat veterans and certain folks with PTSD and some folks who have maybe grown up in war-torn areas, this might not be an option for those folks, because the explosions, the cohetes, the fireworks are a regular thing here and have been almost every day in my entire month here in San Cristobal. But guys, this is the clinic I went to, Centro Médico San Cristóbal, and they actually have dental, they have labs, and they have multiple doctors and a few specialists here, so you can get your blood work done, your dental stuff, and basic medical stuff, including IVs, antibiotic injections, B12 injections, whatever it may be. I myself actually had my ears cleaned here. I've had an issue, for those of you who follow the channel closely, I've had a sinus and eustachian tube issue for quite some time, probably related to free diving and cliff jumping, things like that. Kind of an ongoing infection that causes this ear to get blocked. So what they did for me here is they analyzed my ear with a camera. They went in, they showed me on the screen what was going on. They prescribed some drops to put in there. And then they provided the follow-up appointment to actually use this machine to clean out the ear once everything was softened up. The whole thing cost me 600 pesos. That's about 32 US dollars with the current exchange rate. That changes daily, of course. But that's what I had done. They did a fantastic job. They were incredibly kind, professional. And this is right here in the center. I'll put up on Google Maps right there exactly where this clinic is. Now, I wanted to share something else. I've talked with so many locals and so many expats and immigrants, whatever you want to call us, who have been here much, much longer than me. And their preference, they always say the same thing. Preference is if they can choose, they go to Tuxtla Gutierrez. If they have to get something done here, they go to either luxury hospital or one of these clinics, and they can get their basic medical needs met, or God forbid they have any emergencies, they can get some of those things, like if there's a heart attack or a stroke or something like that, they can at least go get urgent care over there at luxury hospital. So anyway, guys, that bonus material is extremely important. That's why you stick around to the end of the video. Sometimes I'm like, oh wait, I forgot this, and it's super important. So anyway, thanks to those of you who have stuck around to the end. If you made it this far in the video, type bonus material in the comments below. See you guys in the next one. We have a big adventure coming. We're gonna go see Comitán, Lagos de Colón, and some areas kind of in the outskirts, completely different part of the state. And that will help us continue to answer the questions about safety and security as we hit the open road in a friend's vehicle. We're not taking the combi. So anyway, subscribe if you want to see that upcoming video. Until next time, guys, Rope Monster out.